Hello everyone, I'm Tara, the dance doctor. Welcome to my channel. In today's lesson, I'm teaching you some basic techniques and figures for international style Rumba. Rumba is one of the 5 dances that comprises the Latin portion of dance sport. And even if you aren't planning to dance this style of dancing or compete in this style of dancing, it's a really great way to build a nice technical base for your salsa, for your bachata, to be able to create beautiful lines and understand your body a little bit better. So even if you aren't a ballroom or dance sport dancer, this video will be useful for you. If you all like this video, let me know in the comments and I will make more with more information on how to move your hips and your rib cage and your arms in this style of dancing. This is my first video of this type regarding dance sport, and so I'm interested to know what you all think. As always, I will be putting timestamps in the description box below so that you can easily find the section of the video that you are looking for. Also in the description box, a link to my Patreon page. If you love my videos and you want to get early access to my video lessons, or you just want to support my YouTube dance school, you can do so by following that link. We're going to get right into the lesson. I just want to remind you to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the post notifications so you can see when I upload more stuff like this. Now let's get dancing. Let's get right into learning some basic international Rumba technique for our legs and feet. As I said in the intro of this video, we're first going to cover some basic technique in the lower body, below the hips, so we're just working on the legs and feet, and then I will teach you some basic Rumba figures to apply the technique to and put them together into a little practice routine for you. Okay, so starting out, we are going to do what I'm always telling my students was about 80% of my dance education, which are walks. Rumba walks going forward and backward. The reason that dancers of dance sport practice walks so much is because it helps our body become familiar with the techniques that we need to use while we're dancing. And the figures in this dance are actually extremely simple. What makes it complex and beautiful is really the technique that we apply to it. So learning how to walk forward and backward and sideways is going to help us then be able to apply the technique when we are dancing the figures, okay? So first we're going to talk about what the legs are doing as we walk. Like I said, we're going to talk about what the legs are doing first. I'm going to break it down. It's going to be very simple in the beginning, and then we'll start to layer some things on top. So very simply to start, we're going to put one foot behind you, bend that knee to bring it through, extend it out in front of you without putting weight on the foot, and then gently transfer your weight forward. Bend the knee, extend the leg, transfer the weight onto it. Bend, extend, transfer the weight. Bend, extend, transfer the weight. This is the base technique for what we're using in international style Rumba and Cha-Cha, okay? So again, we go. Bend the knee, straighten the leg out in front of you, change weight. Bend, straighten, 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 change weight, okay? This, being able to see the flexion and the straightening of the knee is what makes the leg work in this style of dancing look so beautiful. So it's important when we're talking about international style because it is danced on straight knees, where a lot of dance styles are danced on bent knees. But it's important to know that we have to bend the knee in order to straighten it for the leg action to look beautiful. A common mistake that people make when they're first learning how to do this is they won't bend their knees because they think, I have to dance on straight knees, and that also does not look good. So the flexion is just as important as the straightening. It's just understanding when we're supposed to transfer our weight, okay? So let's do that a little bit faster. I'm going sideways just so that you can see what my legs are doing. So I go bend, straighten, change weight. Bend, straighten, my weight's still on my back leg, change. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change. Okay? One more time. We go. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change. Okay, I'm going to do it facing away. We go. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change. Bend, straighten, change weight. Bend, straighten, transfer weight. Bend, straighten, transfer. Bend, straighten, transfer. Okay, now eventually the feet will be doing very specific actions as they come through, but because this is an introduction video, I really want your focus to be on the fundamental things that are extremely important first. So all I'm going to say about the feet at this moment is we want to try to keep weight on the foot that's brushing through as if we're trying to drag something with us, okay? So I'm not lifting it off the ground to move because that has a different intensity to it. So I'm keeping either the ball of my foot or the toe of my foot on the ground, and I feel as though I'm dragging something with me, and then I keep it under my foot as I step, and then the same thing on the other side. So my main teacher that I've had for the largest amount of time that I do accredit the most amount of my dancing progress to is Mariusz Olszewski, and he has a wonderful exercise that I've used with many of my students very successfully, which is just to put a little piece of paper underneath the ball of your foot, and as you walk or as you dance, try and keep that piece of paper underneath your foot so that you can really feel what it takes to keep something with you as you are walking or as you are dancing, because that will help give you that feeling that we want, which is just to have a little bit of resistance against the floor, okay? So we're going to now learn how to use this same action going backward, and then like I said, we'll continue to layer on top, and then we'll practice it with music. So moving backward, I'm going to now point one foot out in front of me. I'm going to bend the knee. I'm going to place the foot on the ground and transfer my weight. Bend the knee, place the foot on the ground, transfer my weight. Bend the knee, place the foot, transfer the weight. Bend the knee, place the foot, transfer the weight. This is going to require that you take a smaller step than you feel you should. Because if I take a big step back, naturally I'm going to have to transfer my weight. It's a little bit different, the dynamics in the forward walk and the back walk. So I go bend the knee, straighten the leg and place the foot down, and then transfer my weight back onto that foot. Bend the knee, straighten the knee, transfer the weight. Bend the knee, whole foot on the ground, transfer the weight. Bend the knee, whole foot down, transfer the weight. Bend the knee, whole foot, transfer. Bend the knee, whole foot, transfer. I'm also aware there's a few different ways of thinking, more than a few, I'm sure, ways of thinking about walks. A lot of people really want the the heel to come down a lot later when you're walking, kind of creating like a up and over feeling. That's not the way that I was taught, and the reason that I like to do it this way, where the foot comes down pretty much all at once. The ball of the foot's always the first to touch the floor, but it has the appearance of coming down all at once, is because that is what gives us a lot of speed, which adds dynamic to Rumba, because Rumba is naturally the slowest dance of all of the 5 Latin dance sport dances. And so it's nice to, amid this kind of languid movement, have these moments where our feet are moving really quickly. And so, like I said, it adds dynamic. It's the way that I dance, and it's the way that I teach. And I'm aware that there are other ways of thinking about it, but this is how I do it. So let's try it again. We go. Bend, whole foot, straight knee, transfer the weight. Bend, whole foot down, transfer the weight. Making sure that you're getting onto a straight knee when you walk. Bend, straighten, transfer. Bend, straighten, transfer. Bend, straighten, transfer. Same idea. You want to feel as though you're pulling something with you as you walk. So you're keeping some part of your foot, whether it be the ball of the foot or the toe of the foot, on the ground with you. You're pulling something with you, with a piece of paper or whatever, okay? So now, talking about how we transfer our weight. Yeah, we've done bend, we've done straighten, and now how do we get from here into a nice position as we are walking, okay? So we're going to stand with 2 straight knees, just as if you just did your walk, okay? And now from here, my weight is equally distributed between my feet. I'm going to lift my back heel to bring my torso forward, my weight forward onto my front foot. Just place it back down and lift, creating a nice gentle transfer of weight, and place it back down. Lift that heel, transferring the weight, and place it back down. Lift and place it back down. And now try that on the other side. So we go. And also, one thing I wanted to say is when I walk in Rumba, again, there are different schools of thought on this, but I actually like to try to keep my front foot as close to parallel as possible. You can have a little bit of rotation in the foot, but we are trying to step in parallel position. It's going to affect our ability to move our hips once we get there if our foot is too turned out. So we're trying to be parallel, and the back foot can have a little bit of turnout. I'm going to talk about how to get that. But when we're getting set up in this position for this exercise, that's how you want to be. With the front foot pretty parallel and the back foot with a little bit of rotation. And now, my weight's between my feet, and I push into that back foot to transfer my weight, and gently place it back down. And push, and place the foot back down. Push off to gently transfer the weight. As you can see, it's not an abrupt transfer, it's very smooth. I'm lifting the back heel, which is then taking my weight forward. One more time, lift the back heel to take the weight forward, okay? And at this point, because we're just covering the basics, you can choose if you want to go all the way to the toe of that foot. If you're used to using that flexibility in your foot, you're used to pointing your toes, you can do that. Otherwise, you can go ahead and just go to the ball of the foot. As I've said in many other videos, we're always trying to put our weight on the inside edge of the foot over the big toe, and so when I push off, I'm trying to put as much pressure as I can into the big toe joint. I'm not allowing it to roll out onto the pinky toe, okay? So now, applying that to our walks, both forward and backward, I'm actually going to start here, and I'm going to start my walking by pushing off of that foot, bend, straighten, and now I'm going to transfer the weight by pushing into the back foot. Bend, straighten, push into the back foot. Bend, straighten, push to transfer your weight forward. Bend, straighten, push. Bend, straighten. Oh, you got caught on the floor there. Okay? Let's do that again. Starting with one foot in front. And lift the back heel to take your weight forward. And bend, straighten, push. Bend, straighten, push. So there's a moment in my walking where I have 2 whole feet on the ground. This is very important. Push off the back heel. Bend, straighten, push. Bend, straighten, push. Okay, one last time and then we'll go backward. We go. Bend, straighten, push. 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 Okay? As I said before, even though I'm straightening and pretty much putting the whole foot on the ground at the same time, the ball of the foot is always going to hit the ground first. So just be careful when you're straightening that you don't lift that heel and place it back down first. It's always the ball of the foot coming down onto the floor first, okay? So now let's do the same thing going backward. Actually, let's do the same exercise that we did with the forward walk. So now, starting with one foot in front, one foot behind, but now lifting the front heel off to transfer my weight back. So you may have to, like what I just did, adjust your stance a little bit to be a little more compact than when you were moving forward. So I've got my weight distributed between my 2 feet, and I'm gonna lift my front heel to put my weight back onto my back foot. And lift and transfer. Lift and transfer. Lift and transfer. Pushing from the front foot. Really feeling that that is what's taking you back. Let's do it on the other side. We go. Lift the front heel to put the weight back. And lift to push back. You're going to have to really use your feet, use your calf muscles to really get your weight back onto the back foot. We have a little less leverage in this position than we did when we're moving forward. So we're using the muscles in our legs a little bit more intensely, okay? So now, how to do that when we're walking. Again, I'm going to start with 2 feet, use the front foot, lift the heel to push yourself back, bend that knee, put the foot down, push to send your weight back, bend, straighten, push, 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 bend, straighten, push. I'm going to say one more thing about this back walk, which is the same as in the front walk actually, but here I feel like it gets a little bit muddled, which is I bend my knee to bring my ankles together. When my ankles pass one another, I straighten my leg right away. In other words, it's only bent up to this point. As soon as my foot passes my standing foot, my knee has to straighten, and then I push. Bend, straighten, push off. Bend, straighten, push off. Gather the ankles, straighten, push off. Getting that whole foot on the ground, and push, bend, straighten, push. Let's do that again. And bend, straighten, push. Bend, straighten, push. Bend, straighten, push. bend, straighten, push, bend, straighten, push, bend, straighten, push, bend, straighten, push, bend, straighten, push. Okay, so that is the technique that we are going to be using for the duration of this video, and as such, I'm going to have us practice this walking action with the beat of the music that we're going to be using. So we're first going to practice them slow with the music, which means stepping every second count, and then we're going to practice it with the real rhythm of this dance, which is quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow, but we're dancing on the 2. So our timing is going to be 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, which is also song timing if you watched the salsa timing video that I did. But I will walk you through it. So like I said, we're going to try these walks with music, going forward and backward like we just did. First, every second beat, we'll just start on the 1 to make it easy. So we'll step 1, 3, 5, and 7, and then we will do it with the rumba timing, which is their 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1. Okay, so now we're going to give those walks a try with music. So starting on 1 and 3, 5 and 7. 5, 6, 7, and 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, and back. 1, 3, 5, 7. leg and foot action in Rumba. I'm going to teach a few of the basic figures so that we can learn how to apply these techniques to the actual dance. Okay, so we're going to start with the basic step, and I'm teaching from the female perspective. So we're going to be starting with our right foot. The basic step looks like this: 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm doing a very basic version because I don't want you to get distracted. There's a lot of layers that we can add to this, and as I said in the beginning of the video, if you guys like this, I'll do another one then explaining what happens in our body and etc. Okay? So that's our basic step. All I'm doing is rocking back on the right, moving to the side, rocking forward on the left, and moving to the side. Again, I rock back, and I move to the side, and I rock forward, and I move to the side. Okay, we're using our same technique that we just learned in our walks, which means I'm bending my knee, and when I bend my knee, I'm gathering my ankles all the time. Then I straighten my knee and walk onto it. And then when I'm rocking forward, at this point, I'm not bending either knee. I go back and I go forward without bending this front knee. So that's an action that sometimes feels a little bit awkward to people, so you can just practice that. Rock back onto the right, rock forward onto the left, keeping both knees straight, pulling up into the hip flexors so that we don't end up sinking into either side. I'm just rocking back and rocking forward. So I rock back, I rock forward, and then I'm going to gather my ankles again before I move to the side, okay? Moving to the side, I'm doing the same thing that I did when I was moving forward and backward, which is I'm straightening my knee and then transferring my weight. Using that same technique, straighten the knee and then push off of the standing foot to transfer your weight. Then I gather my ankles together, I extend the leg, and I push off of my back foot to rock forward. Now, here, the forward rock is a little bit different than the back rock in that I actually am going to bend my back knee when I rock forward. This is called a check, okay? Whenever we talk about checks in Latin dancing, what we're referring to is this position where I have one foot in front, one foot behind, the front leg is straight, the back leg is bent, okay? So that's what we're creating here. I first extend the left leg forward, then I push off as if I'm going to do a walk, and then I decided not to, so I bend my knee, and then straighten it again, and push off with the front leg to rock back, okay? So, like I said, these are very simple steps, but the actions that we do to execute them are pretty complex. So that's why I explained the technique first, okay? So we're gonna do this again. I'm gonna start with my right foot pointed out to the side, gather the ankles, walk back, and forward, gather, side, push, gather, forward, check, back, push, and side. And gathering my ankles between each step. Side. Making sure that the base technique is happening, that I straighten my knee before I transfer my weight at any given time. Anytime I'm taking a step, I first have to straighten the leg and then transfer my weight. Bend, straighten, bend, straighten. This one stays straight, bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten. Here the front one stays straight, I rock back onto it. Forward, back, and side, hold. Okay, so now with the timing, we go. And 2, 3, and 4, 1. 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 And 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so now let's try the basic step with music. 2, 3, 4, 1. a figure called shoulder to shoulder, okay? All the figures that we're going to do today are just a variation on the basic step with our rock steps rotating in one direction or another, okay? And so I'm starting with shoulder to shoulder because it has the least amount of rotation so that we can focus on what we really need to do in order to rotate and maintain these same actions in the legs simultaneously, okay? So shoulder to shoulder looks like this for the woman. Again, I'm teaching from a female perspective or a follower's perspective. I go 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So all I'm doing is doing an eighth of a turn and rocking back on both of the rock steps instead of rocking forward. So I do an eighth of a turn as I gather my foot. So this action that we do in between each step, I'm going to use the gathering action at the same time as I turn my standing foot, which in this case is my left, an eighth of a turn to the right. Then I rock back, and now I have to turn an eighth of a turn back forward so that I can go directly to the side. Now same thing on the other foot. I'm gathering and turning an eighth of a turn to the left, walk back, walk forward, gather and turn back to the right so that I can do my side step facing directly forward. Okay, so now I'll do that facing away. So starting with the right foot, pointed out to the side, I go and. Just practice that. And. Bringing the ankles together and rotating the standing foot like that. And rock, step. My technique here is the same. 2 straight knees. I rock back on the right, I rock forward on the left. Now again, I'm turning on my left foot and gathering the ankles. Step to the side, push, and rock, step, and side. And rock, step, turn, side. And 2, 3, and 4, 1. 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 A lot of people find this turning and gathering action to be difficult, so it's a really important one to practice because it's something that we use in all dancing, that we're always turning on our standing foot. And the more accustomed you can get to that feeling, the easier all turns are going to be for you. So if you can practice it in these places where we have a very small amount of turn, it's going to inevitably get easier for when you need to do an entire turn on one foot or 2 turns on one foot. You're getting used to what muscles you need to activate in order to use that standing leg to turn, okay? So now, let's practice the shoulder to shoulder with music. 2, 3, 4, 1. And it looks like this. And 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? So again, the same thing. I'm turning on my standing foot, and now I am doing an inside turn and stepping forward instead of backward, okay? So again, starting with my right foot pointed out to the side, I'm doing that same action action that we just practiced in the shoulder to shoulder, but now in the other direction. So now I'm turning toward my standing leg, which a lot of people find a little bit easier. So we're going and I'm doing a quarter turn instead of an angular turn now. So I go and, ankles together, extend, transfer my weight. Here I'm going to use my check again. I'm bending the back knee, and then I straighten it, transfer my weight, rotate that quarter turn again. Now I'm doing that outside turn again, which feels a little bit difficult sometimes. Side, transfer, quarter turn, bringing the ankles together. Check, extend, come back, and go to the side. And rock, checking action, come back, step to the side. Rotating and gathering, check, rotate and gather, side. Rotate and gather, check, making sure still that I am straightening my leg before I transfer my weight. Straighten, transfer, rotate, and straighten, transfer, straighten, transfer, rotate, side, and 2 and 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'll also say, when it comes to rotating on the standing foot in this style of dancing, I do feel as though I'm using my hip, the standing hip, which in this case is the left, to pull it back to help me get that fast rotation. Again, you want to make sure, I don't know if you have a mirror in front of you or if you just look down at your feet, to make sure that your standing foot is really rotating, not only to be straight, but to rotate a little bit extra so that I can get that position that I talked about in the beginning, which is the front foot parallel and the back foot with a little bit of rotation. Because if this back foot isn't turned out, when I do my checking action, this is what it looks like, which doesn't look like this style of dancing at all. So we want to make sure that when we rotate, I'm getting to this position where the heel of my front foot is lined up with the arch of my back foot, and then I step forward, and that way when I do my check, I have this nice position in the legs in which my thighs are nice and close together. I'm on the inside edge of my back foot, and then I step back and rotate back to where I came from, okay? So now let's try New York's with music. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so now, as I said in the beginning, I'm going to put these 3 figures that we learned today into a practice routine for you, and we are simply going to do them in the order that we learned them. We're going to do 16 counts of each, and then we will start over. So the practice routine looks like this. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Shoulder to shoulder. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and New York, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? So I'll do it facing away, and then we'll practice it with music. We go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and shoulder to shoulder. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. New York. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then we can start over with our basic. Okay? So now let's practice that routine with music. 2, 3, 4, 1. Thanks so much for joining me for today's lesson. Leave a comment below and let me know how you did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications for my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dance Doctor Online. Until next time, keep dancing.